Hey guys, Johnny Nerd out here. Today I want to talk about a growing problem with e-bikes. As e-bikes are getting more and more popular, people are just buying them online, on Amazon, on a lot of these direct to consumer e-bikes. And one of the big problems is they're having problem getting serviced. Fortunately, there's places like me that are around that specialize in e-bikes of all kinds, but even then, like I've been starting to turn away more and more work because it's not worth it for places like me. And so I could see a lot of places like just regular bike shops are just not even going to look at your e-bike. So I want to talk about some things to consider and why, some alternatives for you. So number one is I'm talking about bikes like these. I'm not trying to call out any one specific brand, because honestly at the end of the day all pre-made e-bikes are essentially the same. All direct-to-consumer bikes are kind of the same. It's really hard to get replacement parts for them. This bike we had to get a new planetary gear in. This bike we had to get a new controller, and I just wanted to let you know we had some problems with this. We had to order these parts. None of these brands carry their own parts, so they all have to be ordered from China, which means you're talking about at least a month probably lead time. That's if they ship it by air. If they ship it by sea, you're waiting 2 to 3 months. That means that a bike is now sitting in our shop or another bike shop for 1 to 2 months while you're just waiting for a part. And these are not small bikes. These are big, heavy, bulky bikes that take up a lot of space. Number two is hub motors. People think, oh, hub motors are great because you don't use the chain to drive. But what that means is you get a flat tire, you have any type of motor work to do in here, this is a pain to work with. Lifting this bike up, taking the wheel off, even just changing a flat tire, this is now a 20-pound wheel. It's hard enough changing a flat on a regular bike because of the derailleur and everything, but now you add on 20 pounds on top of it, especially if the bike itself weighs about 70 to 80 pounds. This is now a nightmare for a bike shop, especially if you have like a dual hub motor setup like this. This bike now weighs close to 100 pounds, and most bike shops are not equipped to handle something like this. Even a lot of e-bike shops are not equipped. And some of the things that bike shops are going to run into, why they won't even work on your bike, is especially hub motors, is because of the wiring cable. Even if to change your flat tire, they have to remove your hub, your rear wheel, and you risk severing this cable or damaging it every single time you take this wheel off. And so for a lot of bike shops, it's not even worth the $400, $500, $600 risk to make 50 bucks on a flat tire. So before you buy any bike, whether it's on Amazon or any direct-to-consumer site, call around and find out how are you going to work on this bike. Is that brand going to send you a return label to send you the bike, to send the bike back to them to do any repairs, especially motor-based, or if you need a controller? Most of these bike brands, regardless of the brand, even if it's a big name brand, you're like, oh, this is the #1 selling brand, this is the most reputable brand, most of the times they don't carry their stuff in stock. I am a repair shop, and I see all the brands in here all the time, and I will tell you, most of the time they don't have the parts in stock. They order them from China, and they're not universal, they're proprietary, they're one-off, they're all these things. So it's very frustrating for the consumer, for you, and for me as a bike shop owner repairing this stuff. So what do I recommend doing? Obviously, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I recommend building your own e-bike. Take a bike, add a battery, add a motor to it, add a mid-drive motor to it especially. Now, if you need to repair anything on this motor, it's right here. This is super easy to service. I don't even need to take it off the bike really. And I carry all these parts. I got all these all these shelves are full of replacement parts that I could overnight to you if you needed to. I've done that so many times. People on camping trips, vacation, they're like, something blew out, I need it, I'll get it to your campground tomorrow morning. So you could repair it right there. And this bike now, and if you convert a bike, the bike weighs half of what it would. Everything is serviceable, it's lighter weight, it's more performance, and it costs less. A complete kit is about 700 bucks for something that's a mid-drive, that's more powerful, reliable. So please, please, please consider building your own e-bike or pay somebody to build your own e-bike. Something that's repairable, upgradable, serviceable. It's not going to be obsolete within a couple of years. Almost every direct-to-consumer bike will be obsolete because they try to make it their own, they stand apart, but what that means is you're not going to be able to get replacement parts for it. So please just consider building your own over buying something. And if you know somebody who's thinking about buying something, maybe share this video with them. So at least they could do research on, hey, yeah, who is going to service my bike? Call around bike shops. Hey, do you guys do motor repairs on hub motor bikes? No? Great. Fine. If you can't find anybody within 15 miles of you, maybe that's a red flag. You know, there may be some bike shops that are not going to work on even like a custom made e-bike. That's only because of the electronics. But if you take the battery off, a lot of times they will, because at that point, this is just a normal bike. It's not any harder to work on than a normal bike. So definitely do your due diligence. Make sure you got somebody who's going to be able to work on your bike, because otherwise you just got a 100-pound paperweight. And I hear it all the time. People come in, they're frustrated. It's the same thing with scooters too. They don't have anybody that's going to work on it, because as a bike shop, it's frustrating for me. And I feel like I could speak for a lot of bike shop owners, where we don't want to touch bikes like this because the risk is too high. It's a pain to work with. It's hard to get the parts. And ultimately the customers are frustrated because it's not a quick turnaround. And the price is high. It's very labor intensive to work on rear hub motor bikes. If you got to take apart the guts and do that stuff, depending on the bike. Obviously some bikes are a little bit easier. There's some bikes that it could take 2 hours just to get apart and get to work on stuff. Yes, it's not easy to work on rear hub motors. All right, hopefully this helps some of you guys. And again, please check out some of my other videos. If you want to support the shop, go to johnnynerd.com. We sell everything you're going to need to build and maintain your own custom e-bike. We carry all the major motor parts, carry batteries, all the accessories, everything. So thanks guys, appreciate it. Have a good one.